Hello everyone, welcome back, and thank you for joining me for today's video. Today we are going to be doing some lettering, which I'm very excited about. I haven't made a lettering video in many moons. So if you yourself are a hand lettering artist or you've been looking to get into hand lettering, today I'm going to be showing you 5 different styles that you can use to spice up your lettering a little bit. For a fun twist, I'm going to be creating all of these designs on a big black chalkboard with some chalk markers. There is someone that just keeps on staring at me. I think I'm gonna close my shades. Okay, that was weird. I live on ground level, and so sometimes people will walk by, and when I'm filming, and especially when it's late in the day, I like to open up my shades really wide so that way I can get as much light in as possible, but that means that basically everyone outside can see directly in, and I look kind of strange because I'm just talking to a big camera on a tripod. Anyways, let's get started. So for this first design, I chose a perfectly cliche phrase, and I decided to do the lettering in sort of a traditional serif font style. For those of you guys who are not extreme lettering nerds like me, serif basically means those little pointy bits on the end of the letters that kind of give it that like old-timey look, sort of like in Times New Roman. So if someone calls a font serif versus sans serif, that's what they're talking about. I'm sure most of you guys probably already knew that anyways. To create a little bit more visual interest for this one, I decided to write all of the lettering at a slant, but I still kept all of the vertical lines coming directly downwards. Even though the lettering is angled up at like, I don't know, it's like 25 degrees, all of the vertical lines still come down at like a perpendicular 90-degree angle. So it gives it sort of that italicized look. This is something that I had to practice for a long time before I was able to do it, especially doing it freehand. I sketched out all of these designs in Procreate beforehand, so I kind of had a little bit of practice drawing it, but it's a lot easier to do this sort of a style in Procreate because they have a tool that kind of allows you to lock in lines at specific angles. If you're drawing and you hold down your pen for a couple of seconds, the line will stick straight, and then you can also hold down a second finger and rotate it around, and it will give you some preset angles. So you can do vertical, then 25, 45, etc. But when you're doing it freehand, you kind of just have to eyeball it, or you can use a ruler. For this, I used a combination of the two. I would kind of do a few letters and then make sure that I was on track, and it's obviously not perfect. You can see if you look really closely that I didn't quite get all of the lines perfectly vertical. It's also especially hard when you're doing letters like S, where the entire letter is a curve, and it's really hard to know exactly the right way to shape it, so that's something that I've been practicing. Oh my god, okay guys. Oh god, he's back. Okay, this is so weird. And on his phone, he's like wearing sunglasses even though it's like 7 p.m. He just keeps like pacing back and forth in front of my apartment. I don't remember what I was saying. Once I finished all the letters, I went and added just a dark black line through the center. I think this looks really cool on a chalkboard because it almost looks like you left negative space in the letter when you actually just went back in and drew a black line on top, which is a lot easier. And then I added some floral decoration on either side. VeraChalk was very kind to supply all of the markers that I used in today's video, but honestly, I've been using their markers for years. They last a really long time, they write really smoothly, and they come in a huge variety of colors, which I love. They have a set of neon markers, and then they also have a set of more muted tones, so you can really kind of switch up the vibe. The marker that I used in the first lettering was from their classic colors, and the markers have both a bullet tip and a chisel tip, which is nice. You can kind of switch between the two. I'm on their website right now, and it looks like you can pick up a pack of 10 for only $7. I'll make sure to leave all of the information down in the description box for you guys if you're interested. Another thing I wanted to mention about the chalk markers also is that they don't leave any dust when you erase them or write with them because they are water-based. So you erase them not with just a regular eraser, but just with water. And so that eliminates all of the sort of fine chalk dust that can get kicked up when you're using traditional chalk. It also makes it a little bit more permanent, so if you write something and you don't want it to just be easily smeared away, these stick down until you use water to erase them. So it's really good for doing murals on walls and stuff like that. So for the next design, I went with a neon pink color, and I wanted to create something that was a little bit more dreamy and feminine. So all of the corners are rounded, and I just went with this sort of cursive font. And after I got all of the letters drawn out, I went in and added a huge drop shadow to the entire thing. So it was really, really dramatic, and I love the way that it looks. It took a while to color this entire thing in, but it really packs a punch. You can't really tell on camera as much, but in person it was just so bright coming off of that black. The key when you're drawing drop shadows like this is you want to make sure that everything is at the same angle, which can be kind of challenging when you're looking at one letter that's way over here and one that's way over here and making sure that the angles kind of line up. So again, you can go in and use a ruler for this, but I just like to eyeball it, especially because I knew I was going to be erasing this 30 seconds after I drew it. But these do erase really easily, so I keep a bunch of wet Q-tips next to me, so that way if I do mess up or if I draw an angle wrong, I just go in and erase it really quick and I redraw it. Again, I really liked playing with sort of the fake negative space for this one, so I went in with my black marker and added the word big in that big drop shadow that I had, and it basically just looked like I had left that negative space there while I was drawing, but it was so much easier to just go in and draw it in afterwards. So this next design is a lot simpler to recreate if you're sort of new to the lettering scene. This one is really, really simple. And basically the concept behind it is that each letter is made out of segments, and instead of concealing where those segments overlap, I kind of left it. So this is almost like you were building the letters out of blocks. I think it sort of gives like a fun childlike look, and then I decided that it was a little bit too plain by itself, so I just decided to decorate around it with some fun little funfetti triangles. The next design, I wanted to keep the color scheme really simple. I just did it all white, but I really wanted to play around with flourishing the letters and making them run into each other, overlap with each other, but in a purposeful way. So it almost looks like it accidentally just sort of came together perfectly. This is a very difficult look to achieve, I think, because it can easily look a little bit too messy. This style really kind of borders on the edge between I have no idea what the heck that says and oh, that looks so prim and proper perfect. I'm trying to find kind of like that middle in between balance where it's just like, oh my gosh, how did you make it look so effortless? So sketching this one out beforehand was really, really important. I basically just started with a big letter P. I decided what I wanted that to look like first, and then I came in with the lowercase letters afterwards and sort of fit them in. This last design is definitely my favorite. What I wanted to achieve with this one was combining just like a really simple, bold sans serif font with sort of a loose, curvy cursive font, and I wanted the words to sort of be intertwined with each other. So you can see the white cursive font is kind of weaving in and out of the purple letters. Again, the goal is to make it look effortless even though you put in a ton of work doing it. It can be helpful to actually just rewrite the entire cursive word on top of the letters first, and then you can go in and just draw purple back on top of the places that you don't want the white to show through, or you can try to pre-plan it where you don't draw it in. I did a combination of both. The cool thing about these markers is that you can layer them on top of each other, so once it's dry, you can draw on top with a different color and it easily layers on top. After adding a few star accents around the edges, I was really pleased with how this one looked. Alright guys, those are the 5 designs that I wanted to share with you today. I hope this gave you some lettering inspiration for your own artwork, and I really enjoyed making this video. It took me ages to film, which probably seems ridiculous because when I speed it up, it's only like 8 minutes long. You'll be happy to know that the creepy man in front of my building finally left, and the sun is going down, so I better finish this up. But thank you guys for watching, and thank you again to VeraChalk for sponsoring this video. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate the ability to have sponsors on this channel. It makes it more financially viable for me to spend tons of time making these videos for you guys. So for those of you who do watch me and have been watching me for a long time, I really do appreciate that. All right, that's it. Have a wonderful week, guys, and I will see you soon.